Welcome to City League Sports, the show where we share our stories. We tell our stories better than anybody else, and we're telling Columbus City League stories today. I am here today. I'm putting my finger up. Radio people, radio listeners, my finger's in the air. I am here today with the Brookhaven legend, Mr. Ron Lewis, former Bearcat. I'm your host, Dr. Vince Clarino. Say hello to everybody, man.
How you doing, everybody?
Yeah, no, you got to give it better than that, man. Give Columbus, Ohio some love, man.
What's good, Columbus?
There we go. Hey, look, I've shared this multiple times, and we've had a lot of Brookhaven people on the show. And we could just do like a Brookhaven series. You know what I mean? Like we could just run one Brookhaven person through here after another, because you all had this phenomenal run in the 90s and into the 2000s. And I mean, really all the way up until the time that the school closed, and you were a part of some of the most special moments, right? And so, so what year, tell us, so give everybody a time context. What year were you a graduate of Brookhaven?
So I was at Brookhaven from 98 to 2002.
Okay.
And that's the year we won the city state championship.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that. So you dove right to that too quickly for us, right? I'm going to rewind you a little bit. So for those of you that don't know, and everyone I'm pretty sure who listens to our show knows, Ron Lewis, basketball phenomenon, man. You were out there getting it. And so we've had a lot of moments where we've given Coach Howard some love. You're probably the first guy that I can think of who actually, though, like you was a special part. So what did it mean, man, to play for Coach Howard?
It meant everything to me, because I came to Brookhaven not really knowing Coach Howard, but not really knowing him. Okay. So knowing about him, but not really knowing him. And once I got there,
where'd you go to middle school?
I went to Mifflin Middle School.
Okay, Mifflin Middle. Okay.
I didn't play.
Okay. So you didn't hoop in middle school?
No, I got cut 7th grade year.
Oh wow.
8th grade year. You can hear stories from people. I didn't play. I didn't even know about basketball. So
wow.
9th grade year, I was really starting to understand basketball and get into it.
Okay.
And coming into that, you can't go to Brookhaven and not really know about basketball. Right. So I was on the outside looking in as far as the people that were coming in ready to play and things like that. But
who influenced you to get out there then?
My brother.
Okay.
My brother, Lamont Carter.
Okay.
Everybody knows him in the city.
Yeah.
He
100%.
trained a lot of kids in the city. Yeah. Groomed a lot of kids in the city. And
What middle school coach cut Ron Lewis out there? If you out there listening to the show, man, get in touch with us, man. Who cuts Ron Lewis in the 7th grade? Man, I'm sorry, man. I had to say that out loud for me to be able to move on with the show. So your older brother is a part of the spark that says, hey, man, you should hoop?
Absolutely. Well, I told him I should hoop. I wanted to hoop, and he told me where to go. Okay. So he knew where to go if I really wanted to do it. Yeah. I really wanted to get better.
But I guess I'm trying to figure out then, if you didn't play in middle school, what was the spark? Where did the interest come from?
Well, I played all sports. Okay. But I had some friends, Chris Dunn, Raheem Moss.
Yes, indeed.
I played AAU with. So once I made that connection, Raheem was already going to Brookhaven.
Certainly. Are y'all the same year?
Yep.
Okay.
Same year. So once I made that connection, there was no other choice.
Certainly.
Going there, playing with him, playing with Dante Patterson. Yeah. Those were the guys I grew up with.
Okay. So Raheem, we had Raheem's sister, one of his sisters on the show at one point, Taisha. Basketball family, as you know. You know what I mean? Definitely. So you and Raheem come in as 9th graders together. Right. And I got Moss's name written down here on my notes as somebody and so y'all sitting in English class and all that together, man. So that's your guy then.
Yeah, definitely. And to this day.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. That those types of friendships can last a lifetime.
Absolutely.
So you played for the legendary Coach Howard. So then in turn, man, you learn a high level of basketball. I've shared this story briefly before, man, and I can remember as a coach back in the day when we used to have to do film exchange. I'm low man on the totem pole, right? And outside looking in, I think a lot of us just thought around Central High like, man, Brookhaven just got the best players.
Right.
I came to do film exchange, And man, I walked into Brookhaven. I was watching a practice, and you might have even been there, to be honest, around the time, because this was around the time that I was coming to do film exchange.
Right.
2000s was when I was coaching. I'm low man on the totem pole. It might have been one of the best practices I ever seen. I said, "Oh, they in the lab in here, like getting it in."
It was different. It was totally different, and everybody wasn't built like that.
Yeah.
You know, some, was good enough, but couldn't take the discipline, the structure that Coach Howard wanted in his program. And the ones who stood there, survived, shined.
Yeah. So here, I'm gonna get into some fun stuff then. And I'm gonna start with your junior year. Okay. So I look at my notes. Your junior year, you all only lose one game. Who do you remember who the one loss was to?
I think you're talking about our senior year.
No. Your junior year said you guys were 26-1.
Junior year?
Or were y'all undefeated your junior year?
Undefeated. Thinking back, I'm not sure which one, but I know my senior year we only lost to Mifflin.
Yeah, I knew that's your senior year. So my records had, but so let me try it this way. You guys get to. Let's change it to a degree. Your sophomore year, y'all make it to the Sweet 16,
right?
And I think y'all lost to Canton McKinley, right? Could you feel the momentum building as a sophomore, and then each year y'all get a little bit closer? Because I want to build it up to your senior year.
Right.
But could you feel it even your sophomore year that like you looked around and saw some of the pieces that y'all thought y'all could be pretty good?
Absolutely, because one, we had. Even through all those years, we had senior leadership.
Okay.
But I could see
who was above you, like your sophomore year. Who would have been seniors your sophomore year?
Rob Owens.
Oh, okay, Robbie Owens. Yeah, Robbie was long too, man. I remember Robbie. Man. Had them arms that wrapped around the world, man.
Yeah, Micah Stent. He was there. And those were the guys that I looked up to.
Okay.
And set the stage.
Okay.
And I could just see just being behind them and being what they did on a daily basis. That helped us when we came in. Like, all right, we're playing with them.
Yeah.
So for sure, if we don't make it, we're gonna keep getting better and keep building on that stage.
Yeah. Okay. So your junior year, you guys make it to from what I recall, you guys make it to the state Final Four, right?
Yep.
And then you lost to Cincinnati Elder.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Big loss.
So now, share with me what's going on. Like, give me your memories of that game, pre-game, post-game, whatever you want to share about that junior year Final Four loss.
I think the biggest thing I take from that is that physically, and we wasn't ready for that stage. And I just because it was different, the brand of basketball that they played was different from what we played. They slowed the game down on us. The physicality was different. Yeah. So I think those were the two things that really changed the momentum of the game. We were ready.
Yeah, 100%. Because y'all had y'all were either undefeated or maybe lost one game, right? So y'all coming in on a high note.
Absolutely. But, that stage and, that physicality, I think, was very different from some of our guys. And I think that just changed the whole dynamic of the game.
Wow. Okay. So what happens afterwards? Like what's that conversation sound like? Because now you're there, you got a taste of it.
Right.
What does that conversation sound like afterwards?
I mean, I think it's just like you said, we're going to get back in the lab.
Okay.
We're going to keep grinding.
Yeah.
And I think we've been here, so now we know.
Yeah.
Now we know what it takes, and we're not going to take it for granted.
Certainly.
I think we were in there on a high,
right?
All right, we got here.
Yeah.
But was
that the furthest that one of Coach Howard's teams had gotten to up to that point?
I think so.
Yeah, because that's what I think you all were the first ones to crack and win a regional championship, and now you're on the big stage.
Right.
And I can remember everyone kind of following along, because that's once we get into tournament play, we be kind of come one like we're rooting for each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like our grind during the season, we want to beat each other and we want to win games. But once we get into tournament play, we're rooting for each other. And a lot of people, I think in general, man, just were rooting for Coach Howard and rooting for you all. So you all lose that game,
Right.
and then like, what does Coach Howard say to a group of teams? What does he say to a Ron Lewis? Like what is the message for you now about to be a senior in high school for the next season?
I mean, I think the message, and he probably didn't have to say much to me.
Okay.
My grind was just different.
Okay.
So I know going into my senior year, I'm not about to lose like this.
Right.
Not again.
Right.
So we had a major focus going into that year because we were picking up Jamel Cornley. I came off the bench my senior year.
Okay.
So it was different. It was very different. But my mindset was the same.
Yeah.
We was going to get back to that stage, and we was going to do what we had to do.
Share with listeners, man. You made a comment just now. You said your grind was different. What did you notice at the time that was different, or what do you look back on and see that was different? Like what makes you make that comment? That's an interesting comment for you to be able to recognize that.
Well, like I said, I wasn't good in the 8th grade. So
at least some coach didn't think he was good. Whoever you are out there, man, I hope you listen. Okay.
I was not good.
Yeah, and I'm joking.
For sure.
Yeah.
But to say that my grind was different, I had to really get in the lab to even be on the stage with the guys that were already there, because they were already seasoned. They were already ready to go for JV and varsity.
Yeah.
So I had to really put in the work.
Certainly.
To grind, to even be, next to them.
Right.
So, that's why I say my grind was different to even be there, to focus differently than what they were doing.
Do you think then, looking back on it now, and I don't know if you've ever been asked this question, but does that experience in middle school help you out to a degree, because now you realize and you have to work a little bit harder to maybe be able to be on that stage?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and then I take every situation like I've already been there before, and even if I'm at the bottom, I'm gonna climb my way to the top.
Okay. So let's fast forward then. Senior year, now you're the Robbie, right? You're the leader. You're the guy, and you guys got big names, right? Like at this point, even with you and Raheem, and then Drew was playing. So you would have played with what, maybe
Dante
Antoine?
Patterson.
But I'm saying before that, you was playing with Antoine, maybe, or was Antoine on his way out?
He was on his way out.
So you got Dante Patterson, Raheem, Jamel, Brandon.
Yeah, Evan Spencer.
Lyles. Denzel Lyles.
Yep.
Yeah. So y'all looking around. Y'all like, we loaded.
DJ, Dominic Jones. We had, we were loaded. So.
Yeah. So you got all these guys. You're the senior. I'm sure Coach Howard is leaning on you all to lead the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's talk about that hump in the road. That Mifflin game, right? So was the world falling apart after that, man, or what was the next day like for that? And good luck to so the Mifflin guys get to run around for a lifetime, man, and share that as commentary.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
I went back there this year.
Okay.
Guess what I heard?
We got y'all that year.
We got y'all.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I don't care what happened.
Yeah.
We got y'all that year.
So share with everybody a little bit about that, man. What was that like the next day? Walking into practice, whenever that was, after that?
I think that was the defeat that we needed.
Okay.
You win so many games, you can be complacent. Okay. And you can think that you can come in there and show up. And I think that City League game showed us that we just can't show up. Right. They had our number that night. Okay. And that next day in practice, and I don't know, what it was, but for sure.
It was clicking.
Yeah. And everybody was ready to go for the rest of that season.
As a coach and people, that's one of those things you call a good loss. Right. Wake up loss, right? Right. That's a good loss for you. Who was playing for Mifflin? Was that one of the Turners?
No, not the Turners. So one of my good friends growing up, Sean Pinson. Yeah. Who else was there? Lefty point guard, God rest his soul, he passed away. Okay. Growing up.
Okay.
But he was a great player, and he fueled that fire.
So in general, that was a good City League North barn burner game for you.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they didn't back down. They came straight at us.
Certainly. So you guys get a good loss somewhere kind of in the middle of the season. Right. And then that refocuses you for this amazing run. And now you pick out whatever highlights you want to pick out. Share with us. I mean, because you know, not everybody that sits in your seat is a state champion. Right. We get a lot of people who come through here, man, and we want to shower love on everybody. Right. But you're part of a state championship team. Right. So like, give me anything. And you all that year, 2002, man, you beat Cincinnati Winton Woods. Right. So just you pick out during the tournament, during the run, whatever, man. Like what stands out to you?
I think we had some games that really got us ready for that moment. We played in a classic before that where we played Sean Williams that was going to Duke. Yeah. Another player that was going to, I think he was going to UNC Greensboro.
Okay, UNCG, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that stage got us ready. Right. You know, because now we were in front of a crowd. Now we've already been there. So, you know, those lights really didn't hit us like they hit us before. Right. And we knew Winton Woods. We played them in the summer. Yep. So we knew those guys. We knew Rob Height. Yep. Well, you know, he was going to Cincinnati, or he went to Florida first.
And then I think he transferred.
Then he transferred. Yeah. So we knew those guys. Yeah. So we knew what they had, and we already were battle tested against them. Certainly. So we went in there focused. Like I said, we wasn't really focused the year before. We didn't know anything about them really. Right. But this year we knew what we had, and we knew how to get it done. Yeah. Hey,
I can remember back to it, man, and just how amazing it was. Because obviously, you know what I mean, we hadn't seen that level of play for a long time, man. And I remember y'all were playing. I want to say might have been doing like a preseason thing over at Whitehall. Y'all were playing in one of Jerry's program, Jerry's
preview,
preview, something like that. And I remember coming in and watching. I was like, hey man, like, you know, like you lucky if you got 3 or 4 dudes, right? Right. I'm like, they got like 9 dudes, man. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like, there's like 9 guys that could go start for somebody else. Like,
absolutely.
Like we could take 1 or 2 of them and bring them over here with us, man. Right. So y'all had a wonderful season. You probably can't write that any better as a senior, right? And so then that year, I think you also made first team All-State.
Off the bench.
Hey, that's what I was getting to, right? hey, look, you stealing some of my thunder, man, as the host, man. Hey, man, he's moving faster than I can move, radio listeners. That's why I wanted to, hey, man, that's a phenomenal accomplishment, man. And kudos not only to you in accepting the role, right? But kudos to Coach Howard to being able to keep you focused and push your buttons the right way to say, just because you're coming off the bench, because you're coming off the bench as a first team All-State dude, and you're averaging 16, 17, 18 a clip, right? Like you're going out and getting buckets. So you come in the game, is Coach just like green light, do what you want?
Right. Nah, I don't think there was that. You know, he came to me before the season and talked to me, and, you know, he asked me.
Coaches, listen, he came to him before the season. He had enough respect for one of his seniors. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah. So he talked to you about it.
And he asked me. Yeah. He asked me, you know, how did I feel about it? You know, what was my thoughts? And, you know, I love Coach Howell. Yeah. You know, he did everything for that program, like everything. So whatever he said, I was like, I'm all for it. Certainly. You know, you think this is the best spot for us and for this program, I'm all for it. Wow. So I went into that like, you know, what he wanted is what I wanted. Yeah. And it helped me in a lot.
Certainly. High level of maturity for you, number one. Number two, much like I'm about to give some shout outs here because coaches need to hear this. Much respect for the relationship that he built with you, right? Because as a young person, you can't get that off if there's not a relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So that speaks tremendously to all the journeys and trials and tribulations that the two of you were on, right? For him to be able to say, I can come to this young man in a respectful nature and say, hey, here's a vision that I have, and your trust in that vision, you know what I mean, which results in you all winning the state, and then you still receiving, you know, high-level personal accolades to be a first-team All-State guy. There's about 15 lessons in that one piece that you just shared. Like,
For sure.
like we could spend the rest of the show on that as leadership, mentorship, guidance, all of the things that it talks about being an educator and being a high school coach and all of those things. We could spend the whole rest of the show on that, but your body of work is too important for us to stop there. But kudos to both of you, man, and for you to have the maturity as a young person to be able to accept that role and understand the vision. So now let's kind of like fast forward and so your senior year, you're graduating, you done won a state championship, you've done all these things, and you're trying to figure out what's next for you. Right. So share with everybody how do you end up at BG?
It was a collective thing. Like I said, Raheem Moss, my best friend here, him and Steve Wright, that played in Dayton. We all played on the same AAU team. And what better to go to school with your best friends? Yeah. And we wanted to make that happen. We knew we could probably do something special. We didn't care what school it was. We knew our talent, or we could make it. Okay. So we went to Bowling Green with that frame of mindset, trying to get that done. Right. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. The way, college is very, very different than high school. Different. So, different situation, different type of
distractions.
Different type of distractions, everything. So, everything played into it. And then, I end up at Ohio State after 2 years.
And I want to pause there for a moment, man. So first I want to hear in general, and I think we have enough time. Mm-hmm. You follow the game, you see what's going on. Give and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, so you share the opinion that you want to share. But what's your thoughts on the transfer portal? Because you were a transfer guy, and you set out a year in between your transition from BG to OSU, and we'll get to OSU in a moment. Right. But so you would have been one of the handful of people in the last 20 years, right? And I don't know when it all changed, but if you're talking about mid 2000s, last 15 years, you would be a high profile guy that transferred and set out a year.
Absolutely.
So share with me what you think about the transfer portal now in the NCAA.
I think there's a lot that's wrong with it. I think guys are transferring for the wrong reasons.
Certainly, I agree with that.
And I think it's just being oversaturated, in the market. Yeah. Because guys are just transferring because they don't want to get better and work. Right. And that
got their feelings hurt one day.
Absolutely.
I'm moving. My feelings got hurt.
And I can't adjust to this system or things like that. Right. That's where you grow as a player. That's where you grow as a person.
Certainly.
And if you can't do that, you'll be moving your whole life.
Moving a lot. Yeah.
So in my situation, I wanted to win. Okay. I didn't come from a losing pedigree.
Yeah, no doubt. So, you came from the Haven.
So I wanted to win. And my numbers were good. I could have stayed there, been the all-time leading scorer, things like that. I didn't want that. I wanted to win, and that's why I transferred, and was trying to find a program that I can get that done.
Yeah. What was the connection at the time with Ohio State that none?
Nothing. Oh. My brother would say, Lamont, he would say, we beat doors down.
Wow. Okay.
So we went to them.
Okay.
Coach Mata, he just got the job. Just got the job. He didn't know anything about me. He was coming
straight over from Butler.
He didn't know anything about me. Okay. He was like, I'll sit down with you. We talked to him. He didn't know any of my stats or anything. Yeah. We talked to him for like 30 minutes or whatever. Certainly. He was like, all right, I'll look at your numbers, look at some film, and get back with you. Probably not 10 minutes later, he called me and was like, all right, you got a scholarship.
So that a little bit, that didn't take hard to figure out, you know what I mean? Right. But your body of work spoke to that. I mean, I don't know anybody knows that story there.
Nah, nobody knows that.
Yeah. That's nice, man. So you all, and shout out to your brother, right? I mean, for being the guy who's like helping guide your journey along the way with you, man. And if you've ever listened to the show, I talk a lot about support systems. Mm-hmm. They're extremely important. You got to have some good people around you. And if you're not aware enough, if you don't have good people around you and you're aware enough as a young person, I know this is asking a lot for a kid, but you got to remove yourself from those, especially your high school friends who, like, if they ain't trying to help you on your journey, you got to remove yourself from some of those groups, man.
Definitely.
So you and Big Brother, go beating down the doors. You get some time with Coach Mata, and then obviously, man, kudos to him for being able to be open and in a space to say, hey, come on in, I'll talk to you. Right. Because I don't think there's a lot of coaches that would even come close to doing that. Especially with and I say this in the most genuine way, because I have a number of buddies that are college coaches also. And I'm talking about y'all right now. Like, I'm getting close to the microphone. I'm not going to say any names, but they got some inflated personalities. Right. And I get it. You know, you're on the big stage and you become kind of a public face because you're coaching a big time program. But y'all are humans. You know what I mean? I say that to my buddies, man, and they call me and we joke around. But I say that because a lot of coaches wouldn't even take that meeting. Right. You know what I mean? And so then he calls you up and says, hey, look, man, we want you to become a Buckeye. Right. So what does that day seem like? I mean, are you in you home? You're in Columbus? I mean,
yeah.
You're
I'm home. Okay. I'm back, you know, just trying to find my next opportunity. Yeah. And like that's the world. Yeah. You know, that's a big accomplishment.
Certainly.
You know, a big stage for my family in general.
Certainly.
But just I think in Columbus, you know,
100%,
100%, you know, so it was everything that day.
Yeah. So now you're sharing the news and you're transitioning. And I got to give a shout out to one of my buddies, man. When I first got to school at Duquesne, we had a transfer. A guy named Nick Bosnick was coming from Maryland. Okay. He was playing with the Joe Smith team that was at Maryland back in the day in the mid '90s. And Nick came over. And here's the fun part about being a transfer. Even though you when you had to sit out, you on the scout team, but you just get to go off on dudes in practice. And I remember Nick go out and be dropping 30 and 40 on the first team, man. And so that's part of the fun of it.
Absolutely.
So you're at OSU. Part of what we got to get in, man, before we get you out of here, because I told you it goes by quick, right, man? Right. You get this amazing matchup in the tournament in 2007, right? Everyone talks about it. I'm sure you've talked about it a bunch of times, and we'll talk about it as well for those of us, our new listeners. But you're playing against Xavier in the tournament. I think you guys were down like maybe 12, 11, 13 points, man, with like maybe 4 or 5 minutes to go.
We were.
And then so you all come back and you're playing also against a high school teammate and Drew Lavender, who also transferred. Right. So here's one transfer on one team from Brookhaven, Oklahoma, and then at Xavier. And then here you are, right? And here's the part I'm curious about. Because I think Sean Miller was the coach at Xavier. Mm-hmm. And that was one of Thad's assistant coaches. Right, at Butler. Right? Yeah, so like, you got a lot of dynamics there and interesting plots. But what you tell me what you remember from that game, man, and just anything you want to share for our listeners that are tuned in, man.
Just a lot from that game. First of all, I was playing against Drew, which if I let him win, I'll never hear the last of it.
Certainly.
And it was my senior year. Yeah. So as we were down, I mean, my mindset switched to, you know, I reflect to my brother because he had so much, you know, to do from, you know, where I was and how I made it. And all I could think about was like, don't let him lose, Lou. Yeah. And that's all I thought about. Okay. And I didn't want to go out my senior year, right? You know, just with a loss, right? And in the second round, second round of the tournament, right? So, you know, I just tried to put him on my back, you know. So, and I told Mike at the end, you know, I didn't know if he was going to make it. Mike Conley at the end, you know, give me the ball, and we'll see what happens. Certainly, you know,
certainly. So. I remember watching that game, man, and it was probably one of the you know, I mean, it was a fun game for us Central Ohio people, man. Y'all put on the show. You and Drew played your butts off. Right. You know what I mean? And like you know, like for a city league guy, no matter what the result was, we won that day. Absolutely. Right? Because it was fun to watch. Man, you know, and I got so much more here, right? Even still, but we talked about the transfer portal. We talked about your time at OSU. I think most people know. I never knew how you ended up at Ohio State. Right. I figured so this is the story I put in my mind. The story I put in my mind is you was either in the Worthington League or you was over at you know what is it, Larkins Hall. You know what I mean? Right, you was probably just in there dragging somebody one day, and somebody said, "We need that dude." That's kind of the story I put in my mind because you just popped up there one day. I don't think most people here really knew about the transition.
No, I had other offers. I had Boston College. I had Seton Hall. I had, other offers. I could have went and.
Did you visit any of those places?
No, I visited some. I visited Evansville because I knew a coach there.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Norfolk State as well.
Yeah.
It was many different colleges that wanted me, but
then the opportunity comes right here in the backyard.
being at home.
Come on, man. You can't beat that. And then family can be there and everything.
New coach that, they want their people in the program.
Yeah.
So, what better situation?
Certainly. Well, look, man, it's been a real treat to have you. You know what I mean? Like I said, we're going to figure out a way to get a round 2 with you.
Right,
you know what I mean? And maybe we'll get some other of the guys of the state championship team, man, and we'll sit in here and chop it up a little bit about that respect. Everything you're doing right now, we're all following you. Everybody in the City League is proud of you, man, and your story is phenomenal, man. Like these little tidbits today,
right.
Even if you just take a couple takeaways, listeners, you got a young person who in middle school doesn't make the team for whatever reason, right? Talent, skill, poor decision, who knows what. Like you said, then you get your support system. They come along, man, and help you stay focused and get you ready to compete and play at a high level at a school that had a lot of expectations.
Right.
And then you go off and you win a state championship. You're a first team All-State guy. You a state champion. Then you go off, man, to college and you do these phenomenal things, man. Kudos to your story, and I'm excited to see and continue to hear where it goes. I'll pause here, man, and let you share whatever you want to share as we get out of here, man. Now you're doing some coaching also in high school, and so you get to say whatever you want to say, man. That maybe I didn't touch on. Anything you want to share out there?
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk. It's good to just talk, tell your story sometimes, and the things that people don't understand or know about you and how you grew up. But I appreciate it. I'm coaching now at Worthington Kilbourne High School.
Yeah.
Great opportunity for me, great opportunity for the city as well.
Certainly.
Just a different dynamic and trying to build that program in the right light. So wearing many different hats.
Yeah, that's what coaches do. That's what coaches do.
Absolutely, and it's coming full circle.
Yeah,
it's coming full circle to where I'm helping these guys and building them up and getting them to trust me.
Yeah,
and I got their backs 100%, like Coach Howard got mine. So.
I from what I've heard about you, I believe that sincerely. We're gonna make it hard on Worthington Kilbourne. We're gonna try to get you back home. So someplace out there, man, we're gonna try to get you back home, man.
Right.
And get you helping some young people in Columbus City. And we are thankful to you. You know what I mean? One of the things that we love and talking to the producers and the wonderful people, man, who help make this show an opportunity, we believe in telling our story.
Right.
And it's great when we get a chance to get Ron Lewis sitting down here, man, because, you're what we're trying to get young people to understand.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so so your body of work and your journey is your own, right? And so like you said about talking, I'm a firm believer that bringing up good memories in your life is therapeutic. It's good for your soul.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like it's good for your soul, man. Like I don't know how, I'm sure you think about Coach Howard often. Mm-hmm. But it's probably nice to just be able to really sit down and reflect and say, man, I like those are good memories in my life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Now they're giving me the signal again, so we got to tune out. I'm gonna do an outro. Much respect to you, man. Appreciate you being here with us today. That's all we got, man. People, so listeners, everybody out there, man. Mr. Ron Lewis, Brookhaven Bearcat, class of 2002, first team All-State, state champion. All these wonderful things. He was on the show with us here today. Catch all future episodes on radio, WCBE 90.5 FM. If you listen to Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast, tune in and check us out. Follow us on Instagram at City League Sports 614. This is the phenomenal Ron Lewis here.
I appreciate it.
I'm your host, man, Vince Clarino. This is City League Sports.